Ausonia is a deck builder card game to be played by 1 to 4 players. The game is set in a magically altered 17th century. The Italian lands that survived the witch plague are now called Ausonia, and powerful houses rule over them. Each player is the leader of one of these families, and by gaining influence with the help of supporters and magical gemstones, they try to become the next ruler of the city-states. Ausonia is developed by a Hungarian team, and while it's not available yet, be sure to follow the link in the info box and support the team on Kickstarter if you like this game. In the box you will find a very brief but compact rulebook. It also includes the rules for solo mode. The box contains starter decks for all 4 players, and each player also gets 2 indicator cards to keep track of their influence. It is easy to set up your starter deck since you find marks at the bottom of each card saying Start 1, Start 2, Start 3 and Start 4. These 9 gem cards are the player's resources. 3 green, 2 red and 4 blue gems in each starter deck. There are also 3 favor cards representing various abilities. Each player starts the game with the same 12 cards and with 10 influence points. The ultimate goal of the game is to reach or to surpass 60 influence points. The game goes on until one of the players succeeds in doing that. And the winner will be whoever has the most influence points by the end of the round. In the box, you will also find different kinds of unique resource cards, serving as the power cards. This one is, for example, the Joker card. And this card will give you 2 red gems, while this will give you 2 blue gems, and so on. During the game, you will be able to purchase all of these. Shuffle the power cards and place them face up on the table, forming a power deck. For the time being, there are these 3 aspirant cards in the box to serve as your enemies in solo mode. The remaining cards are the favor cards that you will use to increase your influence and to corrupt your opponent's realm, eventually making you the winner of the game. Shuffle these cards too and form a deck on the play area. Then turn 4 favor cards face up on the table. And then it's time to start the game. Each player grabs their starter deck of 12 cards and shuffles them. At the start of the game, each player draws 6 cards from their draw pile. Each player's turn consists of 2 phases. The first one is the action phase. During the action phase, any number of cards can be played from hand, abilities can be activated, or you can purchase new cards as well. The second phase is the end turn phase, where you will place the cards you played or purchased this round to the discard pile. You can also put as many cards from your hand to the discard pile as you would like to, or you can decide to keep them for the next round. The important thing is that you have to draw enough cards to hold 6 in your hand. The round continues clockwise to the next player. Let's see the keywords and abilities in the game. For example, Influence 3. You need to spend 1 blue gem to activate this ability. Pair these 2 cards up on the table, and your influence will increase by 3 points, from 10 to 13. Although you don't have a red resource card in your hand here, but if you had, you could activate this card's ability too. So let's play this favor card and the red resource, and then you can draw 2 cards from the deck. By spending 2 green gems, you can purchase the special gem from the power deck. You can see its cost in the top left corner. Then you'll put the purchased cards in front of you, face down. This is important, you cannot place them immediately at the discard pile, which means you can't use them in the very same turn. You'll have to put all the played and purchased cards to the discard pile only at the end of your turn. You will also have to decide to keep or discard any cards you could not play from your hand that turn. Now let's discard them all. They all get into the discard pile alongside the ones you recently purchased. Now you have to draw enough cards to have 6 in your hand. You can see that there are only 3 cards left in the draw pile. In cases like that, when there are not enough cards to fill up your hand, you take all that's left in the draw pile, then shuffle the discard pile and form a new draw pile. Now you can draw enough cards to have 6 in your hand. Let's see what you can do in the next round. Now you can use this much stronger resource. For example, you can spend it, along with a blue gem, to purchase this favor card. The cost can be found in the top left corner. Then turn the card face down, as you cannot use it just yet this turn. Turn another card face up right away, and continue purchasing if you want to. Let's consider your further options. You can't purchase any more favor cards, but you can still buy this new resource. It costs a red gem, but you can't use it yet this turn. Then you can decide whether to keep any of the cards you did not use this turn or discard them. There are a few special gem cards that are called Joker resources. This means that the player decides what resource they offer, what kind of gem they are. This may come in real handy, and it gives you more flexibility. So far, we examined two abilities, the Influence and the Draw. Let's take a look at another one. You can spend a red resource to activate this card's ability, and you'll get 5 more influence points. Now you have 18 points. Besides, there's another ability on this card with a red background. You can activate it as long as the condition in red is met during your turn. In case of this card, if you draw or already drew more cards thanks to another card you played this turn, it would activate this additional ability as well. Let's assume you played this card and drew 2 cards already. That would activate the card's extra abilities too. Manipulation 1 means that you can choose one card from your discard pile and place it on top of your draw pile, and so you will definitely draw it next time. Of course, the amount of cards you can choose depends on the number after the keyword. If it were Manipulation 3 here, then you could select 3 cards from your discard pile and place it on top of your draw pile in any chosen order. Plus, you would also gain 2 more influence points. Some cards use more keywords with a single activation. For example, if you activate this one with a green gem, you can draw another card. Corruption 3 means that you can decrease a chosen opponent's influence by 3 points, plus your influence increases by 3 points. There is another condition with a red background. To be able to activate this, you have to spend 2 blue gems for anything else in your turn. So if you activate this card by paying the 2 blue gems, the condition is fulfilled and you can use this action. Seal is a very useful action. It means you can place another favor card you played to the seal zone. You can't use that card though, which activates this action, but you can put this other card to the separated seal zone. The card placed there will already be considered as a played card in the next rounds until you decide to activate it once again, and in the meantime it will not take up any place in your hand. Of course, reactivation is also possible, given that you pay the price. After reactivating, it is going to the discard pile, so you cannot place it to the seal zone again, even if you had another active seal ability. The next ability we did not examine yet is discard. The player chooses one opponent who must discard the given number of self-chosen cards from their hand. So the number next to discard is the number of cards the opponent has to discard to his or her own discard pile. This card also gives 3 more influence points, and there's an icon now at the bottom with a red background, which refers to a specific type of card. If you can play another card of this kind in your turn, in this case a card with the skull icon, then you can activate this ability too. Corruption 5 means that you can choose one of your opponents to decrease their influence by 5. Certain cards have 2 separate abilities, each requiring activation to take effect. But it is not obligatory to activate both of them within one turn. What's more, the game itself allows you to carefully plan the order of your cards, and so the order of the abilities. For example, you may activate this one first and gain 4 influence points, then activate other cards, purchase, or do any other action in the order you consider it best. And if you did not have a red gem at the start of your turn, but you managed to get one with your actions, you can decide to use it to activate the second ability later in your turn. So it is not necessary to activate all abilities of a card at the same time. The next keyword is Foresight. Once activated, you can see what cards come next in your draw pile. In this case, you can check 2 cards because it says Foresight 2. Once you saw them, you can decide to place these 2 cards on top of the draw pile in your chosen order or discard them. You can decide about the cards separately. It's your call if you only want to put one of them on the draw pile and discard the other. So if you drew unfavorable cards, you can throw them to your discard pile or put them back on top of the draw pile in any order if they are favorable. And there's another keyword in the game that we call raise. You can place a card from your hand or from your discard pile to the raise zone. If you put a resource card there with a star icon, it will be face up. Any other card goes there face down. If you have at least 1 star marked card and 1 card face down in the zone, you can place them on each other and build a source. This new resource will always be in front of you, and you can use it in every upcoming turn again and again, just like a played card. So from now on, you have 1 blue gem in front of you each turn, and you can spend it without having to hold it in your hand. This is also an excellent opportunity to get rid of those cards from your deck that are not useful to you anymore as the game proceeds. If you see a number after the race keyword, you can place as many cards in the race zone as the number says. You can of course have more of these constant resources, but keep in mind that these face-up cards have to be star-marked starter resources. You cannot put stronger cards there. So in this case, you start your turn with 6 cards in your hand, and you also have 2 extra resources to use each turn. It is advised to mark the resources already used in that turn by turning them sideways. But of course, you can use them again in your next turn. When a player reaches or surpasses 60 influence points in their turn, it automatically means that it's the last round. From that point, the corruption keyword will be counted as influence. The first player won't have another turn, but it's important that everyone must have the same amount of turns by the end of the game, and the player with the highest influence wins the game. To sum it up, basically the players work from their cards in their hands and their sealed resources in front of them. In their turn they can purchase other cards from here or from here. Favor cards need to be refilled immediately, and you can always buy the top resource card from this pile. You can find a description of all the abilities in the rulebook. At the end of your turn, you put all your played and purchased cards to the discard pile. You can also discard any card or all remaining cards from your hand, then draw enough to have 6 cards in your hand once again. If there's not enough cards, shuffle the discard pile and form a new draw pile from it, then continue drawing cards until you have 6 in your hand. The player on your left continues the game. The game goes on until one player reaches or surpasses 60 influence points. That particular round must be finished, and the winner is whoever has the most influence by the end of the round.